What's up, y'all, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Comic Chaser, my weekly comic review series where I cover all the books that I've read this week. And once again, we've got another big stack. We are finally back onto a mostly regular weekly schedule. I'm not just reading backlog after backlog. I'm finally caught up. We've got a nice, decent-sized stack of 10 books this week. So, if you guys aren't familiar, I do this countdown style, and I basically talk about every book that I read this week, and I organize it. Everything in my pile I've enjoyed. If I didn't enjoy it, I would tell you I'm dropping it. But unless I tell you I'm dropping it, everything in here is good. But the books at the bottom of the pile, the last books I cover at the end of this, are my favorites, and the final book I cover is always my pick of the week. So, without further ado, spoilers ahead for these comics, but let's go ahead and get into this week's stack. Alright, so first up we have Jeff the Land Shark issue number, I want to say this is 4? I think this is 4 or 5, Kelly Thompson. This art is absolutely adorable. Jeff goes to the Savage Land, teams up with Elsa Bloodstone, fights some dinosaurs. It's so much fun. This series is so cute. It's a blast. I am having a lot of fun with it. And next week, we're going to have Jeff team up with not only Elsa Bloodstone, but Wanda and Magic as well. So we got all the Magic girlies teaming up with our boy Jeff the Land Shark. And it is absolutely fantastic. Can't wait for more of this, and I'm excited to see how this wraps up, because I feel like it's only going to be a 5-issue miniseries, or actually, probably 6 now that I think about it. If it's not 4, these are usually 6, so it's probably a 6-issue miniseries. I'm not complaining. More Jeff is fun. I might find him annoying when he's on the other team in Marvel Rivals, but inside of comics, he is absolutely adorable, as he should be. Next up, we have Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe. I believe this is issue number 3. This is, as the cover implies, Godzilla versus the X-Men, primarily. And boy, do the X-Men get wrecked. There is some really cool stuff in here, like Magneto actually uses Wolverine as like a drill bit, and I thought that was awesome. But did not do shit to the Big G. If anything, it just pissed him off. And by the end, we get teased what everybody's wanted to see for a while now. You know, if Godzilla is going up against the Marvel Universe, the one thing you want to see happen is a kaiju-sized Hulk battling Godzilla. And he's going to be armed with vibranium weapons, and of course enlarged via Pym particles. It's about to go down, y'all. This is about to be fucking sick. Art's great. A lot of fun. A fast-paced popcorn flick. Enjoying this a lot. Another book that I am quite enjoying myself is Emma Frost, The White Queen, issue number 4. I want to say this is 4 or 5. I think this one is only a 5-issue miniseries. And Emma is continuing to try and hunt down whoever the mole within the Hellfire Club is that leaked the info to the X-Men that ruined her whole, party and whatnot. So by the end of it, she ends up teaming up with Mystique, because Mystique is like, hey, you see that Sentinel that was in the desert there? Because she gets, dropped off, left for dead in the desert in Vegas. You saw the Sentinel there? That was a prototype. Shaw is funding this. He is willing to sell our kind out. If I want somebody in the inner circle of the Hellfire Club, I need somebody that is absolutely pro-mutant. And I may not like you, but you're my best option. So, Raven is willing to team up with Mystique. 2 classic mutant baddies working together. That's going to be awesome, which means this series is going to end with a bang. I've been having all this fun! Getting to see Bad Girl Emma again is a nice change of pace. even though, I'm a big fan of Emma Frost, I like a lot of her growth from Grant Morrison's run onwards. And yeah, man, but it's good to see classic 80s era bad guy Emma Frost. It's really nice. And man, this will date the recording, but I just saw her new Hellfire Gala costume in Marvel Rivals. I might have to start playing Rivals again because that costume is banging. But yeah, overall, really good series. Enjoying it a lot. You'll be hearing me say that quite a bit. Next up, we have the Hawkeye one-shot, Hawkeye number 1, written by Dennis Camp. I want to say this is for Gary as well. No, this is Taboo B. Earl. No, Frigeri is doing the art. Yep, Frigeri is on art. This is basically what if Ultimate Hawkeye was in Squid Game? Because she's essentially, like, put into this, like, riddle, Squid Game, challenge, gladiatorial thing for all these hoity-toity rich people. And by the end of it, she ends up fighting Ronan, or who they bequeath the identity of Ronan to. And, the entire time, he just keeps talking, I'm the one who was supposed to be you. So we figure out who it is. It's Clint Barton, and Hawkeye, like, seemingly gets their ass handed to them and is then, like, past the mantle of Ronan. I'm not entirely sure what was happening there. But now Hawkeye's out to get their get back. This was fun. I don't really know what was going on here, why this was relevant, what this has to do with anything that was going on, with what's been set up for the Ultimate Universe. I'm honestly very confused about the state of the Ultimate Universe since Ultimate Endgame is coming up. But overall, it was a cool premise and a very interesting one-shot. And, like, I don't know. I like getting to know more of this Ultimate Hawkeye. Which I'm pretty sure this Ultimate Hawkeye is, like, the Ultimate Universe version of Echo, because she's also Native American as well, if I remember correctly. Oh my god, am I generalizing? But I swear to god, I'm pretty sure she was also... Although, like, Maya Lopez was just Maya Lopez. I don't remember if Maya Lopez is Native American in the comics as well. I know she is in the MCU. I don't remember if she is in the comics. Forgive me if I am misremembering here. But, like, is that what they were trying to do in this universe? Having, like, Echo, who would later become Ronan in the 616, be the Hawkeye first here, and then Clint becomes Hawkeye later? I don't know. Fill me in. Because I'm honestly totally lost. If somebody could, like, further explain to me what relevance this has to the plot of Ultimates, because, like, a lot of big pushes are happening in the Ultimates book, so I'm very curious to, like, what this has to do with anything. But Claw's dead, so there's that. Overall, still pretty solid. Next up, we have Vision and Scarlet Witch, issue number 5. This is Steve Orlando. This is the finale to this miniseries, but it does say at the very end the Scarlet Witch will return, so Steve Orlando is just going to keep writing Scarlet Witch miniseries and constantly rebranding and relaunching them, instead of just having one continuous numbering system. But I get it. It's easier to sell trades that way, so no knock on you, Marvel editorial team, as long as I still get my Scarlet Witch books. This was fun. We got a lot of really good closure for Vision, especially if you read Tom King's Vision miniseries, or Visions miniseries. He kind of really gets to finally sort throughout all his feelings, because he has no real choice here, because he, like, in this new white Vision form, he is forced to feel all his emotions at once, and so he's kind of, like, expressing it all. They end up defeating Shimogorath, or Gargantos, because we can't use Shimogorath because of Conan rights. Even though Marvel owns Conan, so I don't know why they can't use Shimogorath. But yeah, Gargantos, the giant eyeball guy. They defeat him. Vision decides to actually save Reaper, although Wanda is a little petty and decides to, like, you know, trap him in his own personal hell at the end. They do kind of have a... It reminds me of in Doctor Who when Capaldi's Doctor and River get to live out their entire lives together within this, like, fixed moment in time, but then once it's over, they have to return to reality. Very much reminds me of that. It's very sweet. They got to kind of have the life they didn't get to live together, which definitely gives some very solid closure to Wanda and Vision, but still leaves the door open in case, you know, something happens. I'm not like a strong Vision Scarlet Witch shipper, but I do like the relationship. It's not one of those, like, end game I need it to happen, like Pete, MJ, Lois, and Clark level kind of things. But it's definitely up there with some of my favorites. So, like, I wouldn't be mad if they did get back together. I mean, I don't think Vision is going to rebuild Virginia. So, like, him getting back with Wanda doesn't sound like a bad idea to me personally. But maybe that's just me. Maybe they've had their time and they're just not good for each other. They don't need to spin the block. But this was a fun series, and I can't wait to see what other adventures Wanda will get up to in Lot Kill with Darcy and the rest of her cast. Next up, we have Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 21. Alright, so I'm going to go on a rant real quick. So, I thought this was a good issue. This was mostly diving into Mr. Negative's origin, kind of explaining kind of like how Martin Lee kind of discovered his powers and like started using them, and how he kind of learned to be a master manipulator and all this stuff. And, you know, he eventually like ends up tapping Wesley for information and then stumbling onto the whole Mysterio thing, only to find out that his own sister, who kind of helped awaken him and bring him onto this journey, is also Mysterio. Cool. Very interesting. However, this book is called Ultimate Spider-Man, and this feels like a subplot. Ben and Jonah taking down the Kingpin using their journalism. Really cool, really interesting, and I've honestly really enjoyed the Ben and Jonah stuff. Where the fuck is Spider-Man? This is called Ultimate Spider-Man. And, you know, I would be okay with this if I knew that this was going to continue. Like, I like a slow burn. This feels like you're setting up for something that'll pay off way later down the line, because that's what Hickman does. That's what Hickman's done in every run that I've read of him. Fantastic Four, Time Runs Out, The Incursions, his Avengers, New Avengers stuff. Hickman does a lot of slow burn set up and payoff type stuff. Cool. But there are only 24 issues. This is issue 21. We have 3 more issues left. And you're giving me subplots instead of giving me Spider-Man in my Ultimate Spider-Man comic? What the hell, man? How are you going to end this? This is... I'm still angry about the end of the Ultimate Universe, y'all. And this just kind of epitomizes it. There's so much stuff I want to know more about. And I might not ever get answers to all of this. And I'm just going to be pissed. This was good. But this just reminds me of, oh man, yeah, it's good. Enjoy it while you can. Because guess what, buddy? It's going to be gone after 3 issues and Ultimate Endgame. Supposedly. Now, they could throw me a curveball and we find out that there's more. But, like, I don't think Hickman is going to continue after this. And I don't know if I want to read somebody other than Hickman writing this. So, you know, that's the dilemma here. That's why I had to, like, just kind of rant a little bit about this. Because, like, it's a good issue, but, like, the state of the Ultimate Universe and Ultimate Spider-Man has me very upset because of how much I love this series. And I feel like this is just I'm gonna get blue balled at the end of this. And that sucks. But overall, this issue was really good. Like, all the meta stuff aside, standalone as a story, this was good. But, like, this feels like a setup to something that I'm never going to get paid off. Alright, moving on. We have Superman Unlimited issue number 4 or issue number 5, the Kryptonite Kingdom, which is where Clark actually visits this Brazilian, I want to say, like Portuguese, it's like off the coast of Portugal, nation called El Caldero, which is like where the epicenter of the kryptonite meteor that almost killed Clark but awakened his new gold kryptonite form powers came from. He's investigating it, especially because there also seems to be a new, like, Kryptonian sun crystal found in that area. And, you know, the sun crystals are, of course, the same kind of crystals that form the Fortress of Solitude. So it's Kryptonian tech. He doesn't want to have Kryptonian tech fall into the wrong hands, especially because, you know, his enemies get a hold of that. You know, all hell would break loose. And, you know, at first, the dude in charge, the president, the Kryptonite King, seems like a good guy. You know, they're all celebrating Superman, hailing him as a hero, blah, 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 blah. Superman saving the world also gave them this big abundant resource of Green K, so, you know, he's just championed, and everything seems all good and hunky-dory until, you know, the sun crystal gets involved, and it's like, you know, he's like, well, Superman, I understand it belongs to you, but it landed in our territory, so actually it belongs to our people. But then eventually, you know, when Superman does get hurt after Cobra tries to attack and steal said Sun Crystal, the Sun Crystal activates. It plays a Kryptonian message that shows like a hologram of Jor-El and Lara, and it mentions like Kal-El and having some kind of secret information. So I'm assuming this is new retconned knowledge about the golden kryptonite form or whatever. And, you know, the president is like, well, you know, he can't have it. And, you know, what looks like a, you know, regular ass Daily Planet reporter, this random jobber photographer is like, or camera woman is like, you know, still filming it. And he's like, well, I wish you hadn't seen that because I can't let you leave here alive. He tries to push her. Her disguise falls off. And wha-bam. It's Lois Lane. Guess what, buddy? You're not touching Lois Lane because not only is she editor-in-chief of the planet, she is Superman's wife. So, good luck with that one, buddy. That's why it ended with the uh-oh, because you're fucked. Superman's not going to let you get away with that. I'm not saying he's going to kill you, but he's definitely not going to, you know, just let you get off scot-free here. I'm curious to see what this crystal kind of reveals to Clark and maybe the rest of the world, and kind of the info that it builds out. I would like to see more Kryptonian lore. Honestly, I got way more interested in Krypton lore after Absolute Superman, because Absolute Superman actually got me really interested in Krypton, which was never really a thing for me back in the day, but like, I don't know, Absolute Superman actually had me kind of interested in Krypton and Krypton lore. So who knows? I'm down. The art by Raphael Albuquerque continues to be fantastic. I think, again, Slott has a really fun, nice voice for Superman, and we never really got to see Dan Slott write like Spider-Man in the Daily Bugle, but he has a fun like newsroom dynamic set up, and it kind of makes me think, man, you know, Slott wrote when Pete was like in Horizon Labs and stuff, but like I kind of would have liked to see him write in the classic like Daily Bugle newsroom, like Robbie Robertson and stuff. I mean, Robbie and Jonah were still featured prominently in his Spider-Man run, but I like that the Planet crew is very heavily involved in this. Now, I don't read Action or Superman, so this could totally contradict what Williamson has going on over there. And if it does, let me know in the comments if I'm missing out on any chunks of the Superman story here. But, you know, as far as what I'm reading from Superman Unlimited, I'm really enjoying it, personally. All right. Next up, we have the prelude or the dawn of the Age of Revelation, X-Men issue number 22, and this is literally just kind of the setup. This all leads up to Cypher, Doug Ramsey, aka Revelation, basically rolling up to Scott and be like, "Hey man, so we want to join the X-Men. I'm not my predecessor. I'm not Apocalypse. You're not Charles. We can make a better world. Let's shake on it. I totally don't have Jesse Custer powers where I can just hack your mind by speaking." But then, he kind of gets Cyclops, before this all happens, he gets brain blasted by future Cyclops, which kind of reminds me of when, Kitty time jumps, older Kitty, or, Kate time jumps into younger Kitty's body during Days of Future Past. So I think that's what's going on. And then we're gonna over the next few months flash over to the Age of Revelation. I'm probably not gonna pick up every single fucking tie-in because that's too expensive, but I'm definitely gonna keep up with whatever the main X-Men book turns into, at the very least. So I'll at least keep you up to date on that if you're not reading it. But I am curious to see what exactly Revelation ends up turning this world into. It looks pretty interesting, to be honest. And besides, it's only going to be a few months. It'll be over in February, so what? We got October, November, December, January, February. It's 4 months. Not too bad. It shouldn't be crazy long. So I'm curious to see where it goes. Next up, we have my second to last book. This almost was my pick of the week if it wasn't for one other book that came out this week. And this is, of course, Black Cat, issue number 2, written by G. Willow Wilson with art by Gleb Melenkov. And Melenkov, oh my god, Melenkov's artwork is fantastic. So Felicia has now decided, alright, since most of the costumes are busy, I gotta take care of petty crime so that people are not afraid to go outside and I can actually operate my business as per usual. And so she tries to stop these Manfredi gangsters from robbing this vampire dude, which is just a elaborate scam that you would only find in the Marvel universe. This book is hilarious. Daredevil shows up in this because apparently Felicia is doing a lot of her early work here in Hell's Kitchen, so of course you're in Hell's Kitchen, Daredevil's going to show up, no duh. And I just love it. You look, or Felicia out loud, just you look tall. In her mind, he looks beautiful, and pretty things distract me. And I'm yep, Matt is a lady killer. She would totally be into Matt. And, Matt likes the bad girls. Matt would actually be totally into her. I don't think he has a problem with being Eskimo bros with Pete. I actually kind of want to see him and Daredevil, Felicia and Daredevil be a thing. He had a very strong relationship with Black Widow, and, Felicia and Natasha are very similar characters when you boil it down to kind of the basics. So it could work. Just saying. Not saying I ship it 100%, but there's definitely the makings of a good ship here. Again, this book is just really funny. I knew Gio Willow Wilson was funny. I liked the sense of humor from the original Miss Marvel run with Kamala Khan, but this reminds me a lot of classic 80s 90s She-Hulk, the John Byrne and even the Dan Slott runs on She-Hulk, where it's not entirely fourth wall breaky, but it feels like a more on the ground average look at the superhero life without having to be the POV of a B-lister, right? She's not Spider-Man. She's Spider-Man related enough to where, she's got motion and, her name and her doing all these good deeds is, stirring up some noise, and, Tombstone and Sandman might have to deal with her, and, J. Jonah Jameson might actually, start reporting on her and stuff, and, the positive social media feed is actually getting to her, and, she's actually kind of liking this positive attention, and people seeing her as this hometown hero, so I'm very curious to see where this goes. And, Black Cat is, a grassroots hometown superhero. Who knew this would, such a simple concept would be so effective? I really like this. I'm having a blast. This book is just so much fun. And also, these covers are fantastic. Classic homages. Last but certainly not least, if you knew what came out this week, you should have known that this was my pick of the week. It is, of course, Absolute Wonder Woman, issue number 12, written by Kelly Thompson with art by Hayden Sherman. And this is the end of the My Mother's Made Me arc. Diana escapes from the maze, and, one thing I will always give Absolute Wonder Woman is this is probably the most consistent book I have read ever since fully jumping back into comics, reading comics month to month again. I had jumped off of reading comics month to month for a couple of years, but still keeping up with what's going on in the storylines in the background. But this is just consistently good. This feels like I am reading a Greek myth just constantly, and Diana is uncompromising in the best way. She holds to her character and stands her ground. She stands on business through and through. She, helps out Clea and her fish people, and we find out that Clea is an Atlantean, which I probably should have figured that out because she captured a siren. She has an army of fish people. She uses a trident. But I didn't want to assume, because I feel like, well, yeah, she uses a trident and has water powers. That doesn't mean she's Atlantean. But we got confirmation that she's an Atlantean. Makes me think, is Clea going to be connected to Absolute Aquaman, maybe? Is she Ocean Mistress? Is she, does she take the place of Orem in this universe? Or, will she be connected to Arthur in some way? Diana does set her free, and she's like, hey, I'm gonna trust that when I let you out there and let you return to your home, that you are going to be better and be a better person. But if you act up, that's on me, and I have to carry that burden and take that responsibility because I let you go. That was my mistake. If you prove me wrong. And I really like that. But the ending got me so hyped because the ending reminds me of the middle part of Tangled. The part of Tangled where they actually make it to the kingdom about halfway through and they release all the lanterns and shit. 10 escapes from the labyrinth, the maze, and she immediately gets hit by a thunderbolt. And you're like, oh shit, did Zeus just smite her because she escaped from a prison? No, apparently escaping from the maze just auto-teleported her back home to Themyscira. And immediately she gets brought in front of Hippolyta, and they're like, oh, thank Hera. 10, you're back. And she's like, oh my god, Hippolyta, you're not going to believe this. I've seen her. I've seen Diana. And then Hippolyta, who looks amazing, by the way. This is the first time I've seen Hippolyta in a while where she actually looks like Diana. There have been a lot of interesting depictions of Hippolyta, especially, I remember being so confused in the 2000s cartoon. I was like, why is Hippolyta blonde? That seems a weird choice. But yeah, so Hippolyta looks sick, but she's like, ring the bells! Diana lives! The princess lives! I love that. I'm so excited to see it. And I'm excited for the homecoming and the meeting of the eventual meeting of Diana and the Amazons. But I'm also not excited for the heartbreak where it's like, you know, the inevitable heartbreak that Cersei feels like, oh, you found your real family. But then Diana's like, no, you know, yes, Hippolyta's my mother. I was born of her, but you're my mom. You raised me. You know, I wouldn't be here without you. And that's gonna be super sweet. And I want Cersei and Hippolyta to form a little friendship. And maybe there's a little beef in history because Cersei wasn't exactly the greatest person. I mean, she wasn't imprisoned in hell, but you know, who knows where that goes there. That's going to be interesting. But there's a post-credit scene in this where we cut back to Area 51 or Area 41 and we see like Sobek, or what I'm assuming is Sobek, because it was like a crocodile magic person. And the only magic crocodile person I can remember is Sobek, who is, if you remember, actually connected to the Marvel family. And by Marvel family, I mean like the Shazam family. So maybe. But we see somebody locked up in chains and with their mouth bound and gagged. It is none other than the Mistress of Magic herself, of the absolute universe, Zatanna Zatara, and they're sending her to go kill a witch. Holy shit, we're gonna get absolute Zatanna in this. I'm so excited, dude. You're telling me absolute Zatanna is coming soon? And unlike the Ultimate Universe, I don't have to worry about this book ending after whatever big climactic fight with Darkseid they have after DC KOs. Awesome! I'm so excited because I know this book is going to continue and I can wait for payoffs and be like, you know, hyped about shit. This is what happens when you don't just constantly put your shit on a clock. This is hype right here. I am so excited. This is honestly my favorite comic that I'm reading right now from the big two. That's not an indie book. Like, oh my god, I love Absolute Wonder Woman so much. It's so good, dude. As someone who absolutely loves Greek mythology, this is just everything I could ask for and more. Kelly Thompson, Hayden Sherman, you do such a great job. And even like when we've had fill-in artists, everybody on this book in this creative team has been absolutely killing it. 100% deserves to be on Pick of the Week. Alright, well, that pretty much wraps up my episode of Comic Chaser for this week. Let me know all your thoughts and feels about this week's comics down in the comments section down below. And don't forget to do all the usual YouTube things. Leave that video a like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the brand new content coming to the Channel Chasers Podcast channel. Coming up, we should have our Pokemon episode sometime this upcoming week, and a bunch of other stuff as well, so stay tuned for all of that. Until next time, this has been your boy Jay, and this has been Comic Chaser. I'll catch you guys next week. Peace.